Another season means more awful contracts to talk about. Yes, as it seems that every offseason results in giving us at least one or two fresh deals to rip apart each time around. Now, in case this is your first time tuning in to what's become an annual ritual, we're going to go through and rank the worst contracts currently in the league, based on things such as value, production, term, those sorts of things. And with that, here are the top 5 worst contracts in the NHL. This past offseason, we witnessed, due to their current predicament, the Coyotes gladly taking on a slew of bad contracts in order to stow away picks for the future. And it just so happens that, in the process of doing so, it was finally arranged for former captain Oliver Ekman-Larsson to be finally traded to one of his 2 approved teams in the Vancouver Canucks. So essentially, as they took on the Jay Beagle, Anton Roussel, and Louis Eriksson contracts, the Yotes, after giving up Connor Garland, were able to rid themselves of a deal that's not the greatest, as the defenseman has displayed some definite regression, especially within his last 2 seasons with Arizona, with only 3 goals scored in 46 games played last season. Granted, Arizona has endured their own struggles as a unit in more recent years, but some even more advanced analytics here pretty much show that the writing is on the wall, as in this contract isn't going to end on the profitable side for Vancouver in the slightest. Currently in his 3rd season of his 8-year, $66 million deal, Ekman-Larsson, despite having 12% of his salary retained, is looking to be the new Louis Eriksson in town futuristically. So most of us by now, at least at this point in time, are well aware of the goal-scoring machine that Skinner once was years ago. As a forward, was able to prove himself during a contract year while netting an impressive 40 goals during the 2018-19 season during his debut campaign with Buffalo. Therefore, at the time, even though the amount and term are still questionable today, it's understandable at least as to how Skinner earned a $72 million contract. But unfortunately, even before the horrendous season they had last campaign, Skinner was already struggling to match his production with his annual earnings, as number 53 began to show offensive decline during the 2019-2020 season. That was shortened, yes, but even after 59 games, Skinner recorded less than half the amount of goals than he had the season before. Currently, in his 3rd season of his 8-year deal, Skinner, along with his team, has had a better start for sure thus far, with 3 points in his first 4 games. But even still, if we're being realistic here, it still seems highly doubtful that he'll ever be able to come close to repeating another 40-goal campaign ever again in his career. I know, this is another one of those contracts that just seems to be always on the radar in videos such as these, but for good reason. Despite having a strong start so far on the season with an impressive 7 points in 4 games played, we're looking at the big picture here when gauging Doughty's contract, as his deal is set to expire when he's 38 years old. You know, back when players actually got paid after they did something, Doughty was rewarded with the lucrative deal back in 2018, valued at $88 million with an $11 million AAV. Therefore, knowing that especially for defensemen, their bodies are prone to wear and tear and usually start breaking down around the mid-30s or so. Therefore, we can pretty much surmise that this contract isn't going to age like fine wine in the City of Angels, unfortunately. But for now, as Doughty attempts to make Team Canada this season, he's still amongst the best that LA's roster has to offer. Similarly to the Doughty deal, Erik Karlsson is on this list due to the bigger picture long term, as his age, and more importantly, the amount that he'll be making for 5 more years, which is $11.5 million, on average mind you, make this one contract that isn't going to age well at all. Despite having a strong start on the season thus far, with an impressive 6 points in 5 games, 2021-2022 campaign, due to the fact that he's currently the 3rd highest paid player in the league, and has struggled in the past to remain healthy, and obviously isn't going to be in his prime for most of the deal, make this still one contract that isn't the greatest. At 31 years of age, Karlsson, if he finishes out the contract, will be 37 when it expires. So yes, if the defenseman can somehow keep up the point per game pace and stay healthy for a full season, the contract won't look half bad. But the main takeaway here is, it's way less likely that he'll be able to keep up that pace for 5 more seasons. So you pretty much have to live under a rock not to know about the most recent egregious deal given out this past summer. Not only did the Chicago Blackhawks give up way too much to get Seth Jones, but also, after acquiring the defenseman in the trade, they decided to go ahead and severely overpay him until he's well into his mid-30s. Given that Jones was already on the statistical decline in Columbus, this questionable choice could have happened due to, in part, supply and demand, as the market last offseason was pretty slim, with Dougie Hamilton as a front-runner for offering improvement on the blue line. Even still, upon next season commencing, Jones will be tied with Charlie McAvoy for being the 4th highest paid defenseman league-wide, as his 8-year, $76 million contract will kick in thereafter. Despite already having 6 points in 7 games played on the season, many Blackhawks fans have a right to be nervous as far as the overall future outlook is concerned.